Ladies and gentlemen, almost any story is almost certainly some kind of lie. But not this time. No, this is a promise. During the next hour, everything you'll hear from us is really true and based on solid facts.
Interfaces of automation, blanket where sky meets earth. Them's research on their promises, the stem seizures of material scarcity from a level reaching across in the Bering Seas. Blood harvest, so squeeze us till we barely breathe. I know cats who speak Basque, the perspective is different. Cognition is shifted by omniscient linguistics. Look around, constructed languages from fiction crowd out. Indigenous sentences, no one suspicious of emphasis. How it's not a premises of naked supremacy. Nations aged by only centuries, unleashed plague as if it's meant to be. And me mentally, I've been taught to obey. Walls and fences, laws of princes, edicts course through my veins. With no caution, I'm forced to welcome and garnish my pain. Harness all myths and manuscripts to offer my name to this aimless super. The computers calculate the game, the users. They go fortune and fame to strain the sutures. When we asleep, they classify dangerous fruits of great forgetting, straighten endings or ancient futures. Industrial parks sliding for accelerated trade agreements. The waste seeps into sources where people drinking. Manufacture of exotic materials. Lasers scan the cereals. Metrics replace imperials. Arrays map out the aerial. Our nation states prepare to box for velvet gloves. Scarcity ensures black markets for elephant tusks. Demand stack carcasses upon a melted crust. So call it selfishness. Forces that envelop us. Replicates as we do. Innovates as we do. In ways of people. Few pass through heads of needles. Armchair elites fully invested in Austrian economics. Hold troops in metal cockpits over third world tropics. Botulism from fallen tribes just further they grip on sovereign entities to spot foreign enemies. We use organic chemistry. It's blind violence, but we pay them no mind till we realize we live next to a coal mine this whole time.
Relationships seem to be more and more temporary. What we're witnessing, of course, is the death of permanence.
To design the superb, the computers calculate the game, the users. They go fortune and fame to strain the sutures. When we asleep, they classify dangerous truths of great forgetting, straighten endings or ancient futures.
A new society is being created around us, built from the broken pieces of today. And those who people that society are going to live in a different world.
Golden rules can't apply when we live in neck and neck. My brothers up in arms, sisters going check to check. Powerball up in the millions, so many plan to be next, but can't afford to pay off the gambling debts. Offices outfitted with chain link over metamaterials. Formation set up to fear, impose mega imperials. Towers stacked of glass, inhabited by living viscera. Sync circadians to electric antikythera. Instead of factoring cost of the arrangement, billions remaining have to deal with weather's changing. Demographics can't adapt fast enough. Lacking haptic feedback. When superstorms are the norm, who you call for evac? Ceremonies unveil new coliseums through the dovetails. Won't revitalize super fun sites or save rust spells. Instead of living, we flow in ecologies of the prison state. No universe in a protracted struggle for a different way.
It's very much like the moving back and forth between seasons. What makes us humans in that modern sense is not that we're ritual, not that we're pragmatic, but that we move back and forth between the two. That's what creates self-conscious beings, aware of different social possibilities. People used to be more able to play around with social possibilities. Somehow we got stuck in a hierarchical rut. They used to set the thing up and rip it down and set it up and rip it down. And one day they didn't rip it down and they forgot they could rip it down, and here we are.
Once upon a time, your hometown was safe, but not now. It is possible for a rocket to strike your home right now, today, right now. Control the streets, they press control or delete. Absolutely unaware that this history repeats. Some blame signs for killing guys, same signs as building blocks, frames and pylons, revealing thoughts, replace arbitrary with deeper laws. Regression back to me labeled unsophisticated, though we able to tease information from unspecification. Shifting of earth underneath what we've built. Silent thunderings that ripple and liquefy the silk. Deconstruct and simplify signs, right that end is nine. Time spent on diamond mining means monsters were meant to die. For low wages, the profaneness of new idols that are famous, promote products
that are dangerous. Stop funds for sports stadiums, of course. Disease continues on peoples who have most to lose. When we only have one option, what are we supposed to choose? Of course, people are racist for the sake of development. When these words have no meaning, the truth is irrelevant. Nautilus feels the present unwinding. Does it coil peacefully, a foaming peasant uprisings? From exchanges within alleys or updates of public ledgers. No concern that the fiat cannot be measured. When our ties to what sustains us are severed, then it seems what survives lives under pressure. In terms of currency, only assurance can be treasured. Temperatures won't be tempered as long as we the center. Extract energy leaking from steam turbines. Chrome leeches in the aquifers, it's not the first time. General malaise is common for the middle aged. They gaze up towards the skies to trace commercial spaceships. Formations that vary supplies, and the few that will survive in zero gravity inside castles in the sky. Casualties of war ignored as thermal losses. Generals reap rewards as both sides filling up the coffins. Over speakers is relayed that they can search us underneath the earth's crust with alternative servers. Employment is a joke now, processes automated. Scrap and strip, jump for carburetors. Antiques with all the carbon data. Skin color or genitalia, updated Star of David. They pour out their hearts for comrades who never made it. And histories from Stonehenge to the Olmec. Soulless drones that are tone deaf. Prepare for war that is full-fledged.
Americans traditionally love to fight. All real Americans love the sting of battle.
Nautilus feels the present unwinding. Does it coil peacefully, a foaming peasant uprisings? The exchanges in the alleys or updates of public ledgers. No concern that the fiat cannot be measured. When our ties and what sustains us are severed, then it seems that what survives is what is measured. In terms of currency, only assurance can be treasured. The temperature won't be tempered as long as we the center.
That's why Americans have never lost and will never lose a war. Because the very thought of losing is hateful to America.
Like light through optical molasses, we shine bright, but stuck inside this element that's captured us, suspended as beams of pure energy. Our core entity separate, labeled as your enemies. If you live in the jungle, our mechanisms will hunt you. Come through your habitat with Bibles and guns too. We got our own idols, tactics of Sun Tzu. Balance lost forever once you undo. Patterns passed before the fall, great forgetting before recall. We came, we saw our planes free fall. Above lanes we pour with cement. We've evolved to weather storms of acid rain as trees dissolve. Neural pathways remain intact, language acquired through rough syntax. So what divides our kind from recent past? Hardware unchanged, no leaps of math. Just creatures navigating on uneven paths. Matter of fact, changes in the software, not our code that makes us. Our science won't save us, our hubris sedates us. Where it will take us now that we are sure we're the first, as well as the last that must last on planet Earth.
Look, it's very obvious that you're harboring some misconception regarding our role here.
What is your role here, besides endorsing a regime that murders thousands of human beings?
Let's level with each other, sir. If you hadn't been personally involved in this unfortunate incident, you'd be sitting at home, complacent, and more or less oblivious to all this. This mission is pledged to protect American interests, our interests.
Well, they're not mine.
There are over 3,000 U.S. firms doing business down here, and those are American interests. In other words, your interest. I'm concerned with the preservation of a way of life.
We never had to deal with domestic. With us, it was always war.
You won the war. Now we're fighting the peace. It's a lot more volatile. Privacy's been dead for 30 years because we can't risk it. Only privacy that's left is the inside of your head, and maybe that's enough.
We all return to the earth at the end of our sentence. The body turns to dirt, a form without sentience. Most play out their time in the bosom of modernity, built upon those serving 25 to eternity. Isolation pens with no warmth, no human contact. They capture trophies in mimetic combat. They sagas reduced to monochrome time lapse. They legacy surrendered to the abyss like bobcats. I think of where I'm at, the privilege to choose between decadence or the divine path. My mind has binaries, but contraries are good and evil. Truth is molded within the hearts of a peoples. No need for proof of non-existence of absolutes. What's the use? Water turns to flame forest, reduce the roots. Start a man-made landscape, metal dome for a roof. And replace the home encased us here in a tomb. Attempts to bury us in this grave site called America. Vocal one silence, local genocide in each area. Air supremacy to Nagasaki to Syria. Drop bombs to augment the hysteria. They declare open season on those with no allegiance. Why is it treason to oppose these broken meanings? When the pretense chosen to uphold the precepts is outmoded. Who provides content? What is downloaded? They declare open season on those deemed the malfeasance. Why is the reason untold in the books they be teaching? When the precinct becomes the source of the guns that be killing the young, cover our eyes to what really is done. That brilliant sun don't shine for civilian slums. What chances you make it out? 1,000,000 to 1. Before urban sprawl unchecked, merge the coast into a suburb. Methane runaway ensures the coasts are going under. Summer means no comfort in the heat. Island minor rides are quelled by red, blue leviathans blaring sirens. Department budgets begin to siphon funds meant for schools become the tools for more violence. Let a fire burn in Philadelphia. Let workers earn fractions of what they selling ya. Automation spells the end to even the service economy. To buy, sell is worth more than our autonomy. Plastic packaging, flatten, mixing with autumn leaves. After winter passes, it'll be a silent spring. When blood and sweat worth less than jewelry. Blackouts and power surges, these urges it supersedes. Rigs fall offshore, drill deeper. Murky coasts are patrolled, populated by minesweepers. All gains are absorbed by our appetite. Live like there's no tomorrow, but there's an afterlife. Who can break cycles if they don't got patterns right? But it's hard in the caverns, like to see when shadows strike. They declare open season on those with no allegiance. Why is it treason to oppose these broken meanings? When the pretense chosen to uphold the precepts is outmoded. Who provides content? What is downloaded? They declare open season on those deemed the malfeasance. Why is the reason untold in the books they be teaching? When the precinct becomes the source of the guns that be killing the young, cover our eyes to what really is done. The views they promote to stoke sectarians, God-fearing Americans lying wait, hoping to open wide carryings. To poke and prod, close and rot, expose the clots. Decay ain't supposed to stop, that's a global stop. Matter of fact, they're working overtime. First is birth and contours we supposed to climb. That cable package makes you passive. Catharsis they label fashion. Written for us, heat in Arctic seas are garbage leech reacted. Most struggle to survive and don't see the carnage. Some come to the divide and retreat a carcass. There's too much at stake with my views it seems. False history causing nation states to do these things. What's more, they collude with producers which produce these dreams. Now my face be the enemy on the movie screens. Black death to yellow perils, my access to my apparel. From back when people's feralness became captive or sterile. I read signs of the times, they claim eye for an eye. My foreign con, scapegoats to bleed for their crimes. Malicious and forced the right reasons. Democracy the white Jesus. Freedom is profit to destroy Eden. What's the options? To spectate live or later streaming. Run for cover or partake in the open seasons.
At this point, I think that it is important to make one thing very clear. I have advocated, and I still advocate, revolutionary changes in the structure and in the principles that govern the United States. I advocate self-determination for my people and for all oppressed people inside the United States. I advocate an end to capitalist exploitation, the abolition of racist policies, the eradication of sexism, and the elimination of political repression. If that is a crime, then I am totally guilty.
Gear, non-detection through fluids, no proof of fear or how and why they do it. Invisible to infrared senses that be hovering high, weaving between the speakers that be thundering live. Nobody wondering why this is a new normal. A view of black skies over burner blocks where few coral. Got magicians driving stick forging huge portals into other worlds where no force and few coral. Modes of medicine, walls of medicine, halls accredited, all the presidents call it what it is. Marble stripped to serve a function. It's those who write codes, guiding those who reap and sow onions. What are dreams if not hope and or lessons to be learned when there's no coping mechanisms to deter fantastic notions to return us back to equilibrium? We only focus on the word. This is the zero plane where bodies fear no pain, where we drink blood cause it's 10 years no rain. Look in the distance, this place that got no name. This is the zero plane, this is the zero plane. I'm in a room full of stolen treasures where we keep pharaoh tombs as well as golden feathers. Next we be mining moons with emboldened effort, try to bring monsoons over Gobi deserts. Have had my head down since mid-December, in and out of city centers, routed by aqueducts. I've seen the cape beneath the opulence. How much of infrastructure run on sweat equity? We repurpose muscle fiber to achieve feats incredibly focused, sharp as fangs of king cobras, cranes that careen over mountains of machine boulders. Pirates who eat locusts sail to breach ghost ships. We fail those who be closest, as a whole seem hopeless. Light dissolves like type evolved type spiders activate to crawl networks. The hard white seeking intrigue or increased dividends like PG&E. Chains of command infiltrate to take hold deep in the streets. This is zero plane where we breathe in kerosene, where we drink blood cause it's 10 years no rain. Look in the distance, this place that has no name. This is the zero plane, this is the zero plane. Pistons elicit hissing as bronze solder worn down. Whole city quarter torn down for new views few can afford now. Voices barely audible under the horn sounds. Definite decibel signal caution in the foreground. Microparticles diffuse from numerous rock heaps cause tumorous colonies to be dealt with in future policy. Workers cannot sleep on the threat of termination. Fatigue ensures at least one a day perish in the basin. Carved in the bedrock, laser history exposed. Piles driven downward as the cavern is enclosed. Task works of pipes, panels upon rooftops capture the light. Dynamic stasis spaces between masters and mice. Outside on display, racks of 3D barren beads. Back alley G therapy with lucid dream guarantees. We lost like Greeks coming home flying bleach sails. Lost far from home like beast whales. This is the zero plane where we share the blade while we drink blood cause it's 10 years no rain. Look in the distance, this place that got no name. This is the zero plane, this is the zero plane.
Before you all begin to moralize, you take a look around. You look at what we've done and how much more we can do. You look at what we've meant to this country. Nobody gives a crap about anything else. People close their garages and triple lock their doors or hide under the beds. They're even afraid to turn on their television sets for fear of what they might find out in the evening news. There's nothing more to believe in.
Anxiety pervades every bit of our human experience. In part, we respond to that anxiety by trying to feed ourselves in literal ways and secure our safety and survival in literal ways. But knowing that's ultimately doomed, we use our consciousness, our cleverness, our intellectual abilities to redefine the problem.
Language is imperfect, but first it's about furthest points that encourage us to curse at our purpose. Inabilities connect, instabilities collect. Insofar as we detect indeterminate regrets, through life we progress. How many breaths before death? How many sights of the flesh give ways to flights in our chest? Christ atop the crest, stories retold 1,000-fold. Now it's holding solid from atop pyramids to down below. Other peoples we've encountered from Amazonia to the poles are gone now, so their stories are true unknowns. Where machinations drive us to scorched earth in times of peace, where fascinations drive us to orbit celestial beings. We can see Neptune's rings, Titan's icy sheen. Look back at a blue marble with growing deserts, drying streams. Narrow wiring or nucleic acids in our genes, or Freudian conditionings leaving traces in our dreams. I've heard it's inside of us, our nemesis in Genesis. The premises we must pay a pound of flesh for our blemishes. When I head west, it's a tax that I offer to a god. Eternal souls put on on trial as a scythe reaps the crowd. Or I cross east towards lands where internal strife is a flaw. Suffering is managed, but suffering is the law. Do we strike a balance to find a middle way in this search between latitudes for answers that fit our fate? Pray on our knees that presidents launch missiles straight. Pay our fees to participate and trade on interstates. Soaked inside of binaries like I'm swimming in custom silicon between ascetic discipline to doubt and bone and ligament. Cannot tell what fiction is versus what my sickness is. Born into affliction, by many names elders have christened it. My ego plus my people's born and raised Neolithic. I am trained Neolithic, taught to behave Neolithic. I recite creation myths that retain Neolithic assumptions. I'm cradled to the grave Neolithic, and in this case reality we create lends credence to new ideologies that blur the lines of sequence. 12,000 years is just a blink of an eye, yet 5 millennia makes us think we can defy nature out and inside. Excuse me, but English ain't precise or vague enough to handle what it is this world provides. I'm blinded by rage, using my pain as my sight. Without awareness, I thought this was the meaning of my life. To suffer our sins as well as buffer all the lights. Shifting baselines means we live one another's rewrites. Desire is the root, what we believe is what we do. Never mind that this belief structures us and shapes the truth. So now, what am I left with? Means and methods we've accepted. Ancestors I'm indebted. Concepts of hell and heaven is over. This chapter can come to a close. Abolish my anger against Coptic symbols inside of scrolls. Leave my attachment to sutras that taught me exactly that. Diamonds are merely geologic aftermath. Nautilus been on a quest, but it's time to reflect. It's easy to rip out pages of manuscripts, not reject. Instead of east-west, I'm heading back before Cartesian. Back before genome sequencing. Back before the breach of sin. Back with awareness, my lens is warped by the present. Forever war with my essence, with the cores of my tenets. My opia, induced by voids of time in my conscience. Must bridge gaps as well as grasp the common conflicts. Go between the past, real in my present and my futures. Go between the past, what I can't ask, the Diamond Sutra. I go between the past, I'm searching for a path.
We then recognize that death happens to us. I have to live with the knowledge that I will die. All organisms have a life instinct, an instinct to live. Our species has as much of that as any other species, but we also have the intelligence to know that we're doomed.
Just begins as final reference. Cross-check free of human negligence. Silos emptied undetected, wash away the decadent. A second flood, wrath from above beckons blood. Future archaeologists uncover no mention of us. Only bury cities caked by layers of dust. Black shafts that once rised above now collapse and crush. They find sunken layers, early graves of the unprepared. Tracks of creatures on foot and mass they running scared. Geiger detects traces of Armageddon. The depths is where even the strongest went in. Excavations uncover a global death sentence. Species erasure, evidence of a total threat and menace.
What did they leave behind?
What did we leave behind? The monolith is all they'll find. Piece by piece, events can be reconnected. Databases resuscitate survivors, tales of tempest. A mystery why the black slab still imposes, while the rest of the planet remains frozen. Biospheres have long since collapsed through the melted permafrost. Once the machine was set in motion, there's no way to turn it off. So by millions, refugees built underground, and to this day they remain still underground. Densities of the layers compares to meat packing. Powered by nuclear fission, left the boys still reacting. Fallout spreads from slums to middle class buffer tenants. Cracks from fracking, leaking carcinogenics into springs that hydrates the last of the labor class. In due time the insides burn and return to ash.
What did they leave behind?
What did we leave behind? The monolith is all they'll find.
What did we leave behind? What did we leave behind? The monolith is all they'll find. What do they see above the sea instead?
The monolith is all that stands, yo. Details are teased from secondary sources. An orifice in the slab so active, detailed coordinates. Machines made subordinate only to rule through relieving boredom. Transmit through antennas that rise with size forklifts. Don't have the task perverted to max. Yeah, no difference between civilized men and what they label savages. Protect the last of private property. And that system won't teach you how to live properly. Privatized police, mechanized, deployed rapidly. They run on solar. don't require no batteries. Cyborgs made to feel, paid to kill the masses that inhabit these caves of steel. It was systematic the way that they caused havoc. In the face of total chaos, there's no way to stay passive. In due time, I'll fit the profile for that sentence and created conditions to justify their own necessity.
So what did we leave behind?
Only tapes and records, time don't rewind.
What did we leave to find?
Only days without context, the sun that don't shine.
What was it that we accomplished?
In our extinction, we had no accomplice.
What did we leave for the future to witness?
A silent world as our final monument.
This machine makes our lives move faster. Computers combine facts to make new knowledge at such high speed that we cannot absorb it. They affect not just the things we buy or the things we know, but the things we do.
What's consensus? Convergence towards truth or merely projections of past biases and complexions. Now instead of priests, new gatekeepers for direction. Nautilus doubt the research and raise the questions. I was taught man descended from the treetops. Straight aches before our brains gave way to harbor deep thoughts. Straight legs on great plains we speed across. With straight aims we maintain prowess with lethal force. Before history, who controls what is known? Cave paintings relay mainstream theories of Western codes. As a male, evolved to hunt game and fight wars. My counterpart gather carbohydrates and all what I fight for. We chase the megafauna until they no longer breed. Like how we burn coal and factories so we no longer breathe. Like indigenous holocaust so we no longer see. How we divorce from ourselves so earth no longer speaks. Competition on all levels is what gives us our drive.
Survival of the fit, only the strong survive.
And we living in this till the day that we die. From the cradle we supply to the grave that we lie. I've only known what my eyes can see. My mind is free to swim in this entire sea. But what if I'm only drifted by a tide beneath? Break away to dive deeper to find what's inside of me.
The only creatures that have got conscious control of their breath are the diving animals and the diving birds. Absolute precondition for why we can speak.
I was birthed in caves and verdicts, white film on my surface. Same as sea mammals that are born in ocean currents. I swam before I crawled, dived before I walked, controlled my breath inside my chest before I learned to talk. My physiology performs like I was born by the ocean. Savannas are foreign to my forebears' locomotion. Some claim my brain swelled due to consuming flesh. Mistake omegas for alpha and how we used to catch catfish. Intercontinental muscles off coast of Java. New bones in our ears we've uncovered between stratus. Iodine, iron, zinc, selenium. Fat subcutaneous to the fat in our craniums. On our bodies is the placement, in our head it's the matrix. Our brains of DHA reflect complex social arrangements. But this world of pavement, industrial enslavement. Contained by the blade when it's chalices that form the basis. I've only known what my eyes can see. My mind is free to swim in this entire sea. But what if I'm only drifted by a tide beneath? I break away to dive deeper to find what's inside of me. I've only known what my eyes can see. My mind is free to swim in this entire sea. But what if I'm only drifted by a tide beneath? I break away, dive deeper to find what's inside of me. As an MC, knock out that breath control. Adaptation that was crucial as a stepping stone. Same trait I share with clades of cetaceans. Enables communication as I rhyme to a cadence. Enables me to speak, yet evidence is corrupted. On behalf of worldview, victorious constructed. You think you're objective, I see your objectives. I reject your directives as I dive in the depths with stories of people who live free of good and evil. Darwin aboard the Beagle, emissary of medieval. We can push back against blind faith data process that reduce complex into objects of fuel conquest. Telescopes to search heavens, defile sacred mounts. Wide eyes confirm the vastness while this planet's breaking down. Our scientists skew vision like we got the form. Corny as landfills in the ocean. Means plastic and mother's formulas. Aspirin in the rivers, fructose in the livers. Acid when it rains, what we gain with no more winter. Claim no confirmation bias, they must be double blind. Overturn theories, but what is true cuts through time. They say they want proof, but it was never about evidence. It's about severance between human and everything. How can we know our past if we relish in erasure? to enforce the secular that drive us to meet our maker. Collapse of water bodies reveal how far we've come. A war against ourselves, tribute to all we've done. I don't know that I'm right, but I know that they wrong. I won't go without a fight, all my people stay strong. Keep our heads above the froth, ahead of hidden cost. Speak of the forbidden until the instance we reach across. I've only known what my eyes can see. My mind is free to swim in this entire sea. But what if I'm only drifted by a tide beneath? I break away to dive deeper into what's inside of me. I've only known what my eyes can see. My mind is free to swim in this entire sea. But what if I'm only drifted by a tide beneath? I break away to dive deeper into what's inside of me.
The science delusion is the belief that science already understands the nature of reality in principle, leaving only the details to be filled in. This is a very widespread belief in our society. It's the kind of belief system of people who say, I don't believe in God, I believe in science. It's a belief which has now been spread to the entire world. But there's a conflict in the heart of science between science as a method of inquiry based on reason, evidence, hypothesis, and collective investigation, and science as a belief system or a worldview. And unfortunately, the worldview aspect of science has come to inhibit and constrict the free inquiry, which is the very lifeblood of the scientific endeavor. Since the late 19th century, science has been conducted under the aspect of a belief system or worldview, which is essentially that of philosophical materialism. These sciences are now wholly owned subsidiaries of the materialist worldview.
How do you recognize the ordinary? What do you call that without a name? Why do we ask for answers without a question? Where do we go if everywhere is the same? How do you recognize the ordinary? What do you call that without a name? Why do we ask for answers without a question? Where do we go if everywhere is the same? Action fumes escape from old batteries. It's all your own factory. The landscape is soul shattering, clear cut by old strategies. Fly ashberries and told savagery. The globe a hot zone, pocketed by cold cavities. Boulevards are set now to intersect axes. Cultures clashing, vultures nest next to ancient trash heaps. Survivors are basically marathon athletes. Go round and round in circles, cross country through the back streets. Wearables track consumers to relay parametrics. That chip in the wristwatch, gridlock delays paramedics. Old people live underneath encased in damn septics. Culture transmits the message, existence is a death wish.
Turned on the TV this morning. Had this shit on about living in a violent world.
Nautilus and engineer telling you the end is near. But first pause, dissect cause and effect. Our intentions clear. Ingrained with the notion that humans are created flawed. In all of evolution, we are chosen after all. We flew too close to the sun, so we had to fall. Whether original sin or within our DNA, we have the war. Neighbor against neighbor, fall to the guns and sabers. Believe in science will save us. No difference within this group of takers. Hands that have toiled, deformed by labor and stress. Roll cigarettes, inhale fluid into the chest. Can't afford to purchase tobacco, she burns clothes as a substitute. The clothes are uncomfortable, bestowed by the undertow. Non-profits feed into subcurrents and undergrowth. Ghettos to prison pipelines, we forced to lie under oath. Metal worms crisscross under you, hear the undertones. This embargo of perspective highly functional. All I see is the ruins, all I breathe is the ruins. All I eat is the ruins, all I meet is the ruins. All we see is the ruins, all we breathe is the ruins. All we eat is the ruins, all we meet is the ruins. Along the coast, brown men break ships with no benefits. Mangled bodies fill the tenements. 20-hour shifts, there's no end of it. Coffin makers pace back and forth, taking measurements. Plasma cut, crusted bronze, wool panels oxidized, copper from miles of wild line. This how our missionaries proselytize. Know how, what, when, and the why. This design, only those who have consolidated decides to escape the baking sun while they synchronize the poles. Congregate in shadows of the crumbling holes. Spears of commerce now merely scrap metal. The world is flat after these giants made the map level. All it takes a spark to ignite hermetic chambers. No compensation if they suffer mortal danger. Another dead Asian, a chapter brought to a close. Worldwide suffering beneath stories remain untold. How do you recognize the ordinary? What do you call that without a name? Why do you ask for answers without a question? Where do you go if everywhere is the same? Yo, how do we recognize the ordinary? What do we call that without a name? Why do we ask for answers without a question? Where do we go if everywhere is the same?
To hunt a species to extinction is not logical.
Whoever said the human race was logical?
A city within a desert built to flaunt its buried treasures. By any measure, the networks protect the net worth. Few voices pass the censors as diseases transmit through densest vectors. Senses inert seek out pain and pleasure. Droves of immigrants trip, beholden to private ventures. Stolen wages, passport pages, modern slaves, these faces members. Degrees of separation drop, more weeds will grow between the crops. More rapidly, vile content spreads between nodes within our thoughts. What we see is filtered by whims of a central user. More misguided than visions of retro future. The servers run the kernel, the surface wraps around inferno. No concern for what is earth and the loss of what is fertile. Laws of drought have caused a storm of dust to descend. The city walls are poor defense for beginnings of the end. Cause we out of options, the final shadow descends. But are we sure of the outcome? I guess it all depends. All I see is the ruins, all I breathe is the ruins. All I eat is the ruins, all I meet is the ruins. All we see is the ruins, all we breathe is the ruins. All we eat is the ruins, all we meet is the ruins.
Look, you have to believe me, this was a stupid decision, but I did it with the best intentions.
The best intentions? Some of the worst things imaginable have been done with the best intentions.
The most valuable commodity I know of is information. Wouldn't you agree?
What's the missing linkage? My city shrinking through the shifting seasons. Who knew they used nuclear fuel brews for 50 eons? I feel like vegan, my ancestors slaves, chieftains. Wait to see the demons who further created kingdoms. These coastlines reclaimed by encroaching oceans. Fires beyond hills are only omens. Like ghosts we move back and forth between constructed worlds based in imagination, or ones that drain the source. Mega structures crystallized from seeds of pure chance. Machines speaking Fortran, habeas corpus with no warrants. Upon this earth, they speculate upon its worth. Dismantling biospheres along they search. Yo, we speculate what's tomorrow will be today. Quantify derivatives so value can be retained. Never mind extinction, it's value that remains. Never mind valleys, it's the peaks we seek to aim.
I think computational irreducibility is a pretty important phenomenon that's relevant even beyond what are normally viewed as purely scientific issues, like, for example, to the problem of free will.
Opioids funneled by motorbikes upon a Khyber pass. While in Berlin, my man Eve cash out his cyber stash. Black blocking the FA leave scenes with police tires slashed. Shout out to my fam in Kampala, thick gas briar patch. All these actions fruitless just to make them upset. Know our history like studying for a blood test. Forced to do battles with shadows on the wall. Shrapnel that resolves historical ripples of the Gauls. Myths of the noble savage, symptoms of global madness. Split beams like focal fractions now fade out into blackness. Imprisoned like blackfish, we can't have this. How we speak of earth in the past tense. We speculate what tomorrow will be today. Quantify derivatives so value can be retained. Never mind extinction, it's the value that remains. Never mind valleys, it's the peaks we seek to aim. We speculate what tomorrow will be today. Quantify derivatives so value can be retained. Never mind extinction, it's value that remains. Never mind valleys, it's the peaks we seek to aim. Purging colons, ignore thirst, hunger, massaging swollen abdomens. These riches they fly over like locusts ravaging. The budget deficit like cold storage for medicine. 10 cities emerge under crumbling concrete edifice. Power cut off by Con Edison. Our lives under the knife by non-sentience. Line of sight enigma is the deadliest. Reflected off the space needle, correlate or covariate. Established task forces, keep the rap losses. Track our passport and monitor from floating warships. Get by in smaller portions as my spine begins to bend. Pay for their fortunes, trades for future dividends.
They sell access to a broader group of folks 15 minutes before the public gets it. But then they sell it to a tiny fraction of folks that do hypervelocity trading. And they give them like 10 seconds only extra knowledge. But that 10 seconds is enough to know what's coming.
Yo, we speculate what's tomorrow will be today. Quantify derivatives so value can be retained. Never mind extinction, it's value that seek to aim. Splinter cells put projectiles through the chopper's roof with increasing frequency like how Dopplers do. Know your family and who's robbing you. No humanity is no virus, it's the cop in you. To enforce peace, they ignore grief. To quell unrest, upsets are effectively quarantined. Youth is sedated to make way for machines. Elders are orphaned, nothing more than corporate streams of revenue. Central news to mammals into vegetables like canned food and preserves. No nutrition using chemicals. Never clown for no reason. Seek alphas and locking gains. Never mind extinction, it's value that remains. Never climb for no reason. Another rush, another trade. Never mind valleys, it's peaks we seek to aim.
This machine mocks me. It teases, beckons, mocks me. Put in 5, get back 4. Put in 6, get back 5. But it's got to pay off. Sooner or later, it's just got to, I tell you.
The era of the disposable body. Thousands of people are alive today only because they carry inside them electronic devices, plastic parts, transplanted organs.
Carbon-based evolution and original OS. Data bytes in my DNA be a minimal code. Whatever augments you supply better be backwards compatible. I peruse the catalog to review new latitude. Forget exosuits, I'm in the market for extra limbs. A second pair of arms, add on extensions to my shins. Custom control, zero latency through native terminals. 10 meter minimals, unlocking new verticals. For new muscles, I need scar networks of wet work. Plus spider silk in my sweatshirt. Keep me conscious through pressure. Lay G-forces, nanobots in my bloodstream. So oxygen distribution optimal when I'm gunning. Microtextures to deflect spectrums visible via naked eyes. Optical camouflage baked into my makeshift hide. Vision precision is part of basic packaging. Upgrade to mixed reality. I supply by human trafficking. Multiple fees compete for composite balancing. Cortex overclock addresses nonlinear analysis. Capillary dilation, muted blush response. We shaping up as entities from just beyond. Our primitive streaks contain variables for infinite tweaks.
Commensurate on how much you spend on this day of the week.
Brain stimulation to retrain configurations. Retain information, relay your new fragrance. Custom pheromones tailored for wireless transmission. As defenses against cybernetic schisms. A way to set fire to the prisons of thought. Cash deals for discount, no taxes included in the cost. Foreign smells produced by new organelles. Backup stem cells in case organs fail. Insurance premiums are obscene and meaningless. That's why back alley body mods for knockoffs are teaming with teams of feeble men, foraging for illegal gems. High risk, high reward in this arms race we competing in. Before they raise the scaffold, you gotta raise capital. Rate based on surgical planes, horizontal or sagittal. This ain't where office workers come rehabilitate the thoracic. Engineers are the users, scientists perform magic. Provides for renegades to the weapons grade. No fool suffers second place. Night market deals during retrograde. Capillary dilation, muted plus response to shaping up as entities from just beyond. Our primitive streaks contain variables for infinite tweaks.
Commensurate to how much you spend on this day of the week.
Capillary dilation, muted plus response. We shaping up as entities from just beyond. Our primitive streaks contain variables for infinite tweaks.
Commensurate on how much you spend on this day of the week.
I saved up half a year, now it's time to strike a bargain. My man Jay shot me facts on shortages and margins. I'll settle for titanium over composite carbon. Can live with the extra weight, capex is where I target. These stents for nerve loss and reserve limbs that reverse caustic. And enough copay for my 6-month diagnostic. Pro hormones to catalyze mass aggregation. I seek stronger serums with fast activation. Chasing the state of the art. On display we break what we are. Second labors for your cirrhosis. My LDLs I pay no regard. Minute to transcend hay flick limits. To straight from finish. Survival greed. Strong take from victims. Plant-based, my colon edited to break down cellulose. Microbiome fortified, now my ferments are self-enclosed. Maybe next year I'll be bleeding edge. If I breach the head, there's still a mile to shop around before I reach the end. Capillary dilation, muted blush response. We shaping up as entities from just beyond. Our primitive streaks contain variables for infinite tweaks.
Commensurate on how much you spend on this day of the week.
Capillary dilation, muted blush response. We shaping up as entities from just beyond. Our primitive streaks contain variables for infinite tweaks.
Commensurate to how much you spend on this day of the week.
Chasing the state of the art on display, we break where we are. False assumption that it's either stasis or we compete to evolve. My quantified self tells a horror story. Every second sentence mentions epilogues to a form of glory. Is this life? Beats per minute as I sit tight, confined in a cubicle as I transmit bites. Is this life? It don't matter on this night. The market is open and I'm scoping for the best price.
Another facet, of course, of the Anthropocene is the way we create new life forms. And this is something that is almost natural to us for 10,000 years. We diminish biodiversity by cutting the rainforest, but we also increase biodiversity through means of technology and agriculture. Do these organisms we bring forth, do they reflect an attitude of stewardship, or are they just mere reflections of short-term capitalist interests? Anthropocene has our species in its name.
It's hard to believe that fear of offending any stronger than the fear of pain, but you know what? It is. They always come willing.
Commute to the surface from under the grid. Winter's bite is tempered by heat from furnaces. Street furnishings illuminated from turns of the switch. End up in an urn or a dish to glitch birds when it hits. A fire sale that leaves neighborhoods darkened. Only the lost or a fool will be caught walking, unaware of the eyes that stalk them. The laser beams and the scent of flesh that marks them. Elevated tracks roar with each pass of grinding steel. Hell on wheels overlooking cracks, which act like sings, attracting lost items and harvests, which the harshness brings. Some pan for gold on they knees searching. Great fires, then shadows upon the street urchins. Some be hungry, KT from the streets that curse them. Some be missing persons, some wounded from wars, no one to nurse them. Finding refuge amongst the refuse, but not security. Another homeless dead beaten mercilessly. We kill for sport, another's pain we will ignore. If numbness is virtue, what you have feelings for. I feel the cold rain as it begins to pour. Just caught in the middle of the storm. I feel the old pains as they make their way to my core. Just caught in the middle of the storm. We get cut down, crushed, but upper echelons backed into the hexagon. No matter why you pray, what you say, where you stay, how you stray, you still trapped in the hexagon. They lead legions to carve out new regions. It's the season of the scorpion. Scorching leaves it, leave the carbon unsequestered. And all the time, this is just an excerpt. Augment the body with chrome and organic gadgets. Got radio and telescopes encircling the planet. Nobody planned this. Polak on the canvas. No guides, no directions that are written in the Sanskrit. I watch a culture stagnate. Adults drinking lactating crab cakes. Suffer back pain, gaining mad weight. Age of division is what we in and out. Orderless stays underground with layman's around. Raw elements called settlement, building up a pound. Black response to the release of the hounds. Patterns in the labyrinth drawn by past savages point to solutions that will bring down the averages. There's no narrative to tie together. Millennia of tragedy, history's a grim specter. It's irony that the theory of the domino culminates in Abu Ghraib and Guantanamo. Saddam Hussein is slain, another obstacle. Put out the way, this chain is unstoppable. Underway, feel the climate change, these may be the final days. No rest in place beneath the tidal waves. We get cut down, crushed, but upper echelons packed into the hexagon. No matter why you pray, what you say, where you stay, how you stray, you still trapped in the hexagon. We get cut down, crushed, but upper echelons packed into the hexagon. No matter why you pray, what you say, where you stay, how you stray, you still trapped in the hexagon. They drive black cabs with black hubcaps, sporting the black plates, riding with black masks. Got the anthrax gas with them backpacks and duffels. Keys and pills they smuggle to weaken the struggle. The doors they kick down, the shores they invade. The wars they construct to keep us in chains. And now they enslave us with gene splicing. Control our food, control when the fruits ripen. Alert levels heighten, 1,000 rounds of metal to pierce the chitin. Exterminate the herds like they did the mighty bison. There is no romance in the way we be fighting. Human striking, human who don't be like them. There is no romance in crime and extortion. Honest people buried underneath the warrant. In addition to the stormtroopers, officials plot and collude with Yakuza, MS bruisers, thugs and terrorists. Wherever the dream is American, the Hexagon leads, there is no comparison. Wherever the dream is American, is fear and sin. All of us, the Hexagon's rearing in. Get cut down, crushed by upper echelons, backed into the Hexagon. No matter why you pray, what you say, where you stay, how you stray, you still trapped in the Hexagon. Yo, we get cut down, crushed by upper echelons, packed into the Hexagon. No matter why you pray, what you say, where you stay, how you stray, you still trapped in the Hexagon.
You don't make up for your sins in the church. You do it in the streets. You do it at home. The rest is bullshit and you know it.